Facilitators, ask your students to join the class immediately. Okay, Kalyan Kumar, let me start the class. It's okay, no? Time.
Yes, ma'am, you can start, ma'am.
Okay. See,
I will make the students join, ma'am.
okay. So, good morning, students. So, which unit we are studying now? Which unit we are in process? So, Godson is there? Godson? Ansul? Nitish Kumar? Kalyan Kumar, can you see anything in the chat box? No.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am.
So, students, are you there? Swati?
Yes, ma'am, I think now
Swati,
students are
yeah.
responding,
Now
ma'am.
only they have joined. Okay, fine. So actually, we are in the process of studying Unit 3. Okay. So in the previous class, we saw about the 8255, that is programmable peripheral interface. So what is programmable peripheral interface? What is PPI? So PPI is nothing but a device which is used to transfer the data in parallel. Okay. So now we are going to study about 8251, which is used for serial transmission. Because data can be transferred in parallel for a long distance. Okay, it is not possible. So we have to convert that parallel data into serial, and then only you can transmit the data for a long distance. For that only we are using this 8251. So 8251 is nothing but a serial communication interface. Already you have studied in computer networks. 8251 is serial communication interface. It is a device which is used to transmit the data in serial. Okay. So here, let's see here. It's also called as USART. What is USART is? Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. So by the name itself, you can say it is can transmit the data. The synchronous transmission, asynchronous transmission is possible. So it is a receiver and also a transmitter. Okay. So this 8251 will act as a mediator between the processor and the peripheral. Why we are using as a mediator means that from the processor, all the data will be sent out in parallel. Okay, from the processor, the data will be transmitted as parallel. So that must be converted into serial by using this 8251. See the diagram here. We have a single channel. Okay, here we have the 8-bit data. So bit by bit, the data are transmitted in serial. So we have a single channel here. Through this, the data will be transmitted. Okay. So here, let's see this. So what is the function of 8251? As I said earlier, from the CPU, the data will be in parallel. Okay. So the parallel data is converted into serial and then it is given to the device. Like this, from the device, the data will be parallel and it is converted to serial and then it will be received by the CPU. While transmission, the data must be in serial, so conversion process must be there. So that conversion, that is parallel to serial or serial to parallel conversion is performed by this 8251. So 8251 is a serial communication interface which is used to transfer the data in serial. Okay, previously we studied about 8255. It is programmable peripheral interface which is used to transfer the data in parallel. So like here we know this, the basic modes of transmission. We have simplex mode, half duplex mode, and full duplex mode. These are the basic transmission modes we have. So by seeing the image, you can see what is simplex data transmission. What is simplex? Then I can ask, I think Lalita ma'am is handling computer networks, no? What is simplex transmission? Yeah, one-side communication. Yeah, it's one-side communication. Okay, from here we have the sender and the receiver. At a time we can receive the data. This is simplex transmission. So half duplex means two communication channels will be there, but at a time we can transmit or we can receive. So both cannot be performed simultaneously in half duplex. So we can transmit or receive the data. So full duplex is bidirectional. So at the same time, you can transmit and also receive the data. Okay, so these are the some basic transmission modes available for transmission. Simplex mode is one-way communication. Half duplexes, we have two-way communication, but we can transmit or receive at a time. And full duplex mode is at the same time we can transmit and also receive the data. Okay. So let's see some examples for simplex mode. Can you give some example? Simplex mode. So it is a one-side communication. Simplex mode, data transfer between. Can you take the data transfer between keyboard and CPU as a simplex data transfer? Simplex mode. Yeah, okay. So here this is an example. So data transfer between a keyboard and a CPU. I have given this example. This is a simplex mode, okay. So from this is an input device. So from this we can read in the CPU can read the information from the keyboard. So like this half duplex means at the time we can transmit or receive the data. It is a data communication between CPU and a printer. So full duplex mode is at the same time you can transmit and receive the data. That is the communication what we have in the mobile phones or whatever it is. Yeah, Swati, good. Uploaded to printer communication. So these are the examples for the simple transmissions modes. Okay. So again we have two types of data transfer: asynchronous data transfer and synchronous data transfer. Okay. So you know that no asynchronous data transfer is example for email. That is, it does not require people to be online at the same time. That is, at any time we can transmit and receive the data. Asynchronous, there is no common clock pulses time also. That at any time you can transmit and the receiver can receive the data. So the very good example for asynchronous data transfer is email. And for synchronous data transfer, so both must be connected at the same time. Okay, example is the phone communication between the two persons and Skype or face-to-face talk can be taken as a synchronous data transfer. Okay, so asynchronous means we can transmit the data at any time. Okay, no. So this example is email, and synchronous data transfer is communication must be needed at both the end. The people must be there. The example is the phone calls, a Skype or face-to-face talk. Okay. So let's see here the synchronous data transfer. As I said here, example is face-to-face talk or communication. So here the sender and the receiver use the same clock signal. Both must be available there. And here it supports high data transfer rate and needs a clock signal between the sender and the receiver. Okay. So a master will be there, and the master will provide the clock signal to all the receivers in the synchronous data transfer. So here, so asynchronous data transfer is at any time you can transmit the data. Example is mail, okay, mail data transfer. So there is no common clock signal between the sender and the receiver. And the sender and the receiver first need to agree on a data transfer speed. The speed must be very fast. But according to this asynchronous data transfer, there is the data transfer rate will be slow. Okay, when the bandwidth is available only, it can transfer the data. So that's all about asynchronous and synchronous. So before transmitting the data, whatever it is, whether it is asynchronous or synchronous, we have to frame the data in such, you know that, no? We have to frame the data. So the asynchronous data transfer, the framing format is, we have a start bit here, and the data bit we are going to transfer, and then the parity bit, which is an optional one, and next one we have the start bit. So this is the format of framing the data in asynchronous data transfer. Okay, we have the start bit. Suppose if you want to transfer the data A, letter A means that's the ASCII value of letter A will be taken as the data bits. And next one we have the parity bit. It is optional. So what is the use of parity bit? What is the use of parity bit? What is the use of parity bit? So parity bits is used for error checking. Okay, we have seen various error checking codes now. Initially, they used this parity bit. Later, we have found out the CRC check method, that is cycle inertia check, error deduction, cycle inertia check method. Like this, we have various methods for error deduction and correction, right? So parity bit is the initial stage. We use this parity bit. Okay, what is this? The use of this is, suppose if we have an odd parity of data, so according to this, the parity will be set, and the receiver said it will be checked whether this parity bit transmitter is same as the receiver. If it is same means there will be no correction. That is the data what is sent is received at the destination. Suppose if there is any change in the parity bit means there is an error. So it will ask for retransmission. Okay. So this is the framing structure for asynchronous data transfer. First we have the start bit and the data bits to be transmitted, and then we have the parity bit and the stop bit. Okay. So let's see here we have a transmitter and the receiver. Okay. So we have the start bit here, and then the ASCII character of, suppose I want to transmit a letter A means, so this ASCII character of A will be here. And next one is we have the stop bit. In this diagram, there is no parity bit. Okay, since it is optional, I have left it out. So see here, this is the direction of flow here. It is direction of, okay, this is the first data transmitter, second one. Actually, what is here? So this character A will be sent. So here actually we have the start bit here before this A, and here the data bits of A, and then we have the stop bit. So here there will be a break in between the characters. Okay. So first A will be transmitted, A will be framed, and then it will be transmitted, and B will be framed in such a way with the start bit and also the stop bit. Okay, in between the start bit and the stop bit, B will be framed and it will be transmitted like this. C also will be transmitted in between the start bit and the stop bit. So in between all these characters, we have a break. So this represents it is the starting of the new character, start bit. Okay, this is asynchronous data transfer. So it is framed in such a way we have the start bit, data bits, parity bit is optional, and we have the stop bits. Okay. So next one is synchronous data transfer. So here we have the synchronous character here. Two synchronous characters are available. So it is also, we must have one. It is a must for one synchronous character. Second one is optional. And then we have to transmit the data. Okay. So see here, see this diagram. So here we have this two synchronous character and the data to be transmitted. So here, while we are transmitting the data will be transmitted in a continuous format like this. See here? So A, B, C. Okay, continuously the data will be transmitted. Hope you found the difference between asynchronous data transfers. In between the characters, there will be a break which represents the starting of a new character, start bit. Okay. In synchronous data transfer, all the data will be transmitted continuously. So here, no break in between the characters. This is about synchronous and asynchronous data transfer. So this is the block diagram of 8251. So 8251 is serial communication interface which is used to transmit the data in serial. Okay. So here this data bus buffer, this will communicate with the processor, okay, CPU through this D0 to D7. And we have the internal bus in between the two divisions we have. And here we have the read-write control logic, okay. So here the signals we are using here is reset signal, which is used to reset the device, that is 8251. And we have the clock signal. So what is the use of clock signal? What is the use of clock signal? So in flip-flops, you have studied the clock signal, right? Flip-flops. What is the use of clock signal? So clock signal is used to synchronize the data transfer. That is, when we give this clock pulse only, the data will be transmitted out, yeah, synchronized. So it will be, the data will be sent out or it might receive the data bit by bit, okay? So clock signal, like a flip-flop. So suppose if we give a clock signal to the flip-flop, so data in that flip-flop will be sent out. Okay, so that is the use of clock signal, which is used to synchronize the data transfer. And here C/DS, already I have told, whenever we have a IC chip, there will be a control register and also a status register, okay? So C refers whether it is a controlled data and D refers whether it is a data. Okay, C, if it is, this signal represents two conditions. If it is one means it refers the data is a controlled data and D means it is normally an information. So next one is a read signal, which is active low signal. And next one we have write signal. And next one is, what is CS? What is CS? See, in some, most of the devices, some of the signals will be common. So you must know that, so that don't want to study again and again. Just you can, is it not, it is, CS is chip select signal. To select this chip, okay, CS is chip select signal. So it is a signal, it is not a segment, okay. CS is chip select signal. So to select this device, so we'll be in the motherboard, we'll be having more number of IC chips, To select an IC chip, so this chip select signal must be active. Okay. So here next we have the modem control signal. So DSRS, data set ready. DSR is data set ready. That is, before transmission, we have to frame the data according to that, whether we are going to transmit the data in synchronous mode or asynchronous mode. Okay, according to that, we have to frame. After framing, we'll be saying data set is ready. Okay, DSR is data set ready. So framing, after framing, the signal will be activated, DSR. Next one is data terminal ready. So it will check whether the terminal is ready to receive the data. Okay. DTR is data. So CTS is clear to send. So clear to send the data, whether the available bandwidth is available to transmit the data. So after checking this only, we can transmit the data. Clear to send. Okay. Next, RTS is request to send. Request to send. Request to send the data. So these are the ready after framing the data, whether it is for synchronous and asynchronous transmission. So this signal will become active. Okay, DSR, data set ready. Next one is data terminal ready. If the terminal is ready to receive the data, it will become active. Next one, clear to send. CTS is clear to send. That is, the bandwidth is available or not. Okay, whether the required bandwidth is available. So that is indicated by this clear to send signal. Next one is RTS, request to send the data. So here we have two control units. There is the transmit control and the receive control. Okay. So this transmit control and transmit buffer, along with this, it is used to transmit the data. And this receive buffer and receive control is used to receive the data. Okay. So here, let's see, here RxD is the received data. RxD is received data. So bit by bit, it will be received in this buffer and it will be converted into parallel, and then through this internal bus and through this data bus buffer, through this D0 to D7, it will reach the CPU. Okay, I hope you got it. So through this RxD line, receive data. So bit by bit, the data will be received and it will be converted into parallel. And then, so here single line is arrow is there, and here we have a group of wires. Okay, so the parallel data will be transferred to this data bus buffer, and then it will reach the CPU through this D0 to D7. Like this, suppose if you are transmitting the data out means from the CPU, the parallel data will be received by this data bus buffer and it will reach this transmit buffer, and here it is converted into serial, and through this line TXDD, the data will be transmitted out bit by bit, transmit data. Okay. So now let's, so we are having some control signals also here, TXRDY. Let's see in detail here. Okay, this is a transmit buffer. So inside this transmit buffer, okay, inside this transmit buffer, we have a buffer register and also an output register. Okay, so inside the transmit buffer, we have the buffer register and the output register, and here we have the out signal as TXD. The single arrow, so serial bit by bit transmission, and here we have the arrow. This is parallel transmission. Okay. So what it does is, so this buffer register will accept the data from the CPU. So data is received by the buffer register, then the framing information is added here. Okay, and here in this output register, it is converted into serial, and through this TXD, transmit data, bit by bit, the data will be sent out. Okay, hope you understood this. So accepts the data from the CPU. Parallel data is received from the CPU by the buffer register, and framing information is added to this. Okay, and then it is transferred to the output register, and here it is converted into serial, and bit by bit it is transmitted out to this TXD, this transmit data line. So we have the control signals. So see here in this transmit control, there is transmitter ready, transmitter empty, and transmitter clock signal. Okay. So transmitter ready is the signal. So before transferring the data from the CPU to this buffer register, we have to check whether this buffer register is empty. Okay. Suppose if already the data is there, means it will be overwritten. Error also will be there. So before transferring the data, we have to check whether this buffer register is ready, empty. So for that, we are using this transmitter ready signal, okay, TXRDY. And when we transfer from buffer register to output register, here also we have to check whether this register is empty. So for this, we are using this TXE. And then we are transmitting the data. So TXE is the clock, okay, transmitter clock, which is used to synchronize the data, and TXD is transmit data. So hope you understood this. So this is the transmit buffer. We have two registers inside this, the buffer register and the output register. The buffer register will receive the data in parallel, and framing information will be added to that, and that is transferred to this output register. And here the parallel data is converted into serial and it is transmitted out. Okay, this is the structure of the transmit buffer register. And to control this, we have some signals. Okay, transmitter ready, transmitter empty, transmitter clock, and transmitter data. Transmitter. So like this in receive buffer, so through this we are receiving, okay, bit by bit we are receiving the data, bit by bit, and here it is converted into serial to parallel, and then to the buffer register it is transmitted, and from that it will be transmitted to CPU. Okay, the reverse process, just it will receive the data in serial, and it is converted into parallel, and then it is transferred to the CPU. So here the control signals we have is receiver ready. Okay, so the buffer register is ready to transmit the data to the CPU, and we have RxC is receiver clock, and RxD is the received data. So here there is an error, there is overrun error occurs when the CPU fails. Suppose the data is placed in this buffer register and the CPU does not read the data means, so overrun error will occur. Okay, so it's a very important one. So whenever the data register, the CPU must read it immediately. Suppose if the CPU fails in reading the data, the overrun error occurs. So that's all about this receiver buffer. Okay, so here next is, as I said earlier, whenever we have a IC chip, we have the control register and the status register. So here the control register is divided into two divisions we have in control register. That is the mode instruction format and command word format. Okay, and then we have the status word register. So this mode instruction format and command word format is used to control 8251. Okay, and status word is used to find the status if there is any error. So let's see this mode instruction format. So this is an 8-bit register. Instruction format is an 8-bit register. So here D0 and D1 refers B1 and B2. That is the baud rate factor. That means baud rate means the rate at which the data are transmitted. Okay, baud rate is the rate at which the data are transmitted. So when it is 0, 0 means it is synchronous mode. So the other combinations, that is 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1 refers the transfer rate. Okay. So baud rate is the rate at which the data are transferred. Okay. So next one is L1 and L2 is used to represent the character length. As I said earlier, suppose if you want to transmit the letter A, so the ASCII value will be transmitted. So the character, the ASCII value can be represented by 8 bits or 7 bits or 5 or 6. So like this here, going to represent as 5 bits, 6 bits, 7 bits or 8 bits. Okay. So this the character length must be known by the sender and also the receiver and also must be common. Suppose in the sender, if you are sending 8 bits means as a receiver also, it must be known that the character length is 8 bits. Okay. So this L1 and L2 refers the character bits. The next one, this PEN is parity enable, whether we have used the parity bits or not. Okay. And next one is EP is even parity. So we can transmit the data in even parity or odd parity, that represents by EP. And then we have two bits, S2 and S1, which is used to represent the number of stop bits. So it can be, the number of stop bits can be 1 bit, 1.5 bits or 2 bits. Okay, so this is the structure of mode instruction format. It is an 8-bit register which is used to control the 8251. Okay, whether or asynchronous transmission, and the character length must be specified in this, and whether we have used the parity bit, and if we have used the parity bit, whether it is odd parity or even parity, and the number of stop bits. So all this information must be represented in the mode instruction format register. Okay. So next one is the command instruction format register. So this is also an 8-bit register. So I forget to that. Okay. So in the diagram, we have seen a synchronous detect. Yeah. And the receiver, see here, there is a synchronous detect now. This only the synchronous character. So while we are transmitting the data, so that is while we are receiving the data, so the synchronous detect signal will detect synchronous character. So the transmitter will have a synchronous character, and we will be having that is the receiver will be having a synchronous character. If both matches only, the data will be received at the destination. Okay, for that we are using this synchronous detect. Okay, so that only explained in that okay, command instruction format. So let's come from the right side. So TXC, what is TXC? I've seen all the signals in the block diagram. TXC is transmitter enable. Okay. So DTR is data terminal ready. After the terminal is ready only, we can transmit the data. Next one is RXE. RXE is receiver enable. We have to enable the receiver before transmitting. Next one is send the break character. That is in between the data, so A, B, and C. We have some break characters. We can send that. Next one is reset, error reset. Actually, here we have three types of error. Okay, overrun error, and you can see that. Okay, so in order to reset all these errors, we have this error reset. So RTS is request to send, internal IR is internal reset, and EH is enter the hunt mode means. So hunt mode means in searching of the synchronous character. Okay, there is hunting the synchronous character. In there is we are going in search of the synchronous character. That is the enter the hunt mode. This bit must be 1. So that only while receiving the data or transmitting, the synchronous character must match. Okay, so when this matches, so this bit will become 1. So enter the hunt mode. Next one is internal reset. In the chip also, we are having a reset signal to reset the 8251. So by using this command instruction format also, we can reset the 8251. RTS is request to send, error reset, then send the break character. RXC is receiver enable. Next DTR is data terminal ready, and TXC is transmitter enable. So these are the two control registers we have. Okay, mode instruction format and command instruction format. So next one is, let's see the status word register. So if there is any error, so the status word register must be read. So let me come from the right side here. So this is transmitter ready. Okay. So this TXRDY is used in the, hope you remember this, in the transmitter block. Okay. Transmitter ready. So like this, a receiver ready, transmitter empty. Next we have this parity error. Okay. If there is any parity error, so this will be set. And here this is overrun error. Overrun is the CPU does not read the data available in the buffer register, okay, while receiving the data. This is overrun error. And framing error is, suppose if there is any error in framing, suppose the start bit you have placed somewhere, data somewhere, and there is a format for framing, no, for synchronous data transfer, synchronous character, and then we have the data. And for asynchronous transmission, we have the start bit, data, and the stop bit. Like this, you have to frame. If there is any change in framing, so the framing error will be there. So next one is the synchronous detected. So that pin I told, no, so both will be checked. And here, if the synchronous character is detected means, if both the matches means, it will be set. And DSR is data set ready signal. Okay, so this is the status word register. So we have seen the three registers. First one is the mode instruction format register. Second one is the command for word format register. So both the registers are used to control this 8251. And next one is the status word register, which is used to read the status when there is any error. Okay. So this is the pin diagram of 8251. So it is the 28 pins we have. Normally till now we have seen the chips with 40 pins, right? 8086 we have studied. 8087. What is 8087? 8087. 8087. You don't forget the chip numbers, because in the questions, university questions, sometimes they won't give the word, that is serial communication interface. Just they will give with the neat sketch explain the function of 8251 or 8255 like that. So we must remember all the chip numbers also. So hope you know all the chip numbers of the AND gate, OR gate. Okay, don't forget that. It will be very useful in your life also. So first you have studied about 8086. It is a processor, and 8087 is a co-processor which is used to perform mathematical operation. And 8089 is an I/O processor which is used to control all the I/O devices. And yesterday we saw about 8255, which is programmable peripheral interface, which is used to transfer the data in parallel. And now we are in 8251, which is serial communication interface, which is used to transfer the data in serial. For this 8251, whatever you study in computer networks also can be written here. Okay. So here, let's see here. So the 1, 2, okay. And then here we have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 27 and 21. 28 represents the data bus, okay, D0 to D7. And then the third pin represents RxD. What is RxD? What is RxD? What is RxD? Monica AR? Monica, what is RxD? I think if you're not answering, I hope I won't be giving attendance for you. Can I take it like that? Christian Paul, are you there? Christian Paul? See, students, now I will be explaining all the signals, and after that I will be asking you if you're answering means attendance will be given to you, right? Okay. Jai Shri. Bhavani? Christian Paul. Yeah, what is RxD? I know what is RxD. What is it? Okay, let me explain now. Okay, students, clearly receive buffer. Receive RxD is receive data. Okay, write it in your note. RxD is receive data. GND is null. Okay. Ninth pin is transmitter clock. Transmitter clock, which is used to synchronize the data transmission. So WR is write signal. CS is chip select. T/D is represents two signals, control or data. Okay. So RD is read signal. RD read signal. Next one RX RDY is receiver ready. Receiver ready. Next one 15th pin is transmitter ready. Transmitter ready. Next one is synchronous detect. SYNDET is synchronous detect or blank display. Synchronous detect. The next one CTS is clear to send. So clear to send. Before transmitting the data, we have to check whether the bandwidth is available. If it is available means we will get the signal clear to send. So after that we can transmit the data. Next one is transmitter NT. Next one transmit data. Next one is the clock signal. Then we have a reset signal. Reset signal. Next one is DSR. Data set ready. That is after framing the data will be ready for transmission. No, at that time it will be active. Okay, data set ready. And RTS is request to send the data. RTS request to send. DTR is data terminal ready. Okay, data terminal ready. RXC is receiver clock. It is used to synchronize the data transmission. So VCC is the voltage that is given to this 8251. Okay. So 8251 is used for serial transmission. So it is a 28 pin IC chip. So I hope your RxD is receive data, GND is ground, and TXC is transmit clock, WR is write signal, CS is chip select, T/D bar is control or data, RD is read signal, RX RDY is receiver ready signal, TX RDY is transmitter ready. Next one we have synchronous detect, CTS is clear to send, transmitter NT, transmit data, clock signal. Then we have the reset signal. So 22nd pin is data set ready, DSR. 23rd pin is RTS, that is request to send. Request to send. DTRS, data terminal ready. RXC is receiver clock, and VCC is the supply signal. Okay, plus 5 volt will be given to this. Let me put the questions now. So what is CS? What is CS? Deepak. Deepak. Kalyan Kumar, if the students are not answering, better you put absent today, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Deepak? See, if you're not answering, so most of the students, I think we can include them in the PEC class, right? So already the class is extended till 3 o'clock. Again, another 1 hour you have to attend. You can stop recording, Kalyan Kumar. Time.
Yes, ma'am.
Kalyan Kumar, you can stop recording. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Stop recording, ma'am.
Swati.